folks. I hope you're all ready for an adventure tonight. Tonight, we're going to get a little interdisciplinary as well as interplanetary. Of course, you know that Earworms is mostly about the electronic music or related beauties of sound creation, things that touch our minds, touch our hearts. It can be a broad palette, the innovations, musicians, and tonight we're talking about a legendary film that is, for electronic musicians, it's one of those films that you just got to see. And we're going to be interdisciplinary about it because this film has a number of innovations. And I don't know, I just think it's so special that, especially since I have two colleagues that are real film buffs, really know their stuff, I say let's let ourselves break free, and we'll talk about the music, but we'll talk about many other things because I basically made slides from beginning to end of the movie, and so we could talk about scenery, set design. I have some audio clips for the sound effects. One of my colleagues, Adam Gray, gifted me a couple videos that we'll be able to play. Just so people that haven't seen the film can get a good taste of it, and those that have can enjoy some nostalgia, maybe learn a few things, or at least look back and smile a bit, because this is a beautiful one. All right, without more yap yap, let me go into my stealth mode here. Yeah, there we go. StreamYard took away my key binding again. And so, yeah. Well, I'll go into stealth mode in a moment, but first I'm going to call up one of my colleagues, and we're going to switch the order tonight. Next will be Mr. Adam Gray.
Oh, my goodness. Well, great to be back. How are you, Lawrence?
I'm doing pretty good. Now I'm in stealth mode. So I watched the film earlier in the week and then later in the week when I was making slides. So I did two go-throughs. I mean, a lot of it had faded from my memory, and I kind of mixed it up with some other films, believe it or not. But after kind of remembering it and going through it, wow, it was a beautiful experience. And I mean, it is certainly of its day and ahead of its time in both aspects. So,
Yeah.
so what do you think before we bring Jay on?
This film definitely pushed the envelope on science fiction. And sure, it's got some cheese, it's got some tropes, it's got some sexism, but it's of its time, and it's quite wonderful. I I'm sad to say that I didn't get to do a rewatch before the show, so I'll be winging it a little bit, but it's truly charming movie, and the musical score and the audio is definitely worth discussing.
All righty. And here we have Emperor Jay Goodwin. I wonder if he's going to just come on and say, no, sir, don't like it.
I didn't care for it.
Sexism? You're selling me. Let's go. Yeah.
What's wrong with being sexy?
Exactly. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, this movie is great. It is even, I mean, in many ways, it's sort of like pre-Star Wars, or even, a little bit afterwards. If you talk to people that were into like sci-fi movies or whatever, this was like, up there, number one, right up until maybe 2001, and then Planet of the Apes, for how people kind of treated it as its own thing. It was a pretty big budget. The pretty serious sci-fi topics that are involved with it, big reveals, big special effects, and then the sound of this thing is just amazing.
Oh yeah, and I think I saw, well, I know I saw, but it was something about 1.6 million was the budget, but for 1956 that was real money.
Yeah,
that's like
well, and certainly for genre like this, right?
Yeah, this took science fiction to a different level.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to just be slow about things, so we're going to play the trailer that was provided to me by Adam. Anyone that hasn't seen the movie, this will give you an idea of aesthetics a bit. And it's a synopsis of the story a little bit. We'll be going through it because we want to also talk about the story, not just the sound. And I think we'll be talking about some of those sets because they were great. So this is going to be
Oh, yeah.
giving you a good taste of it. Thank you, Adam, for procuring this for us.
I wish I could have provided more, but the copyright lockdown on this is tight.
Yeah.
It's hard to show even a minute of a clip, but thankfully the trailer is fair use. So
Well, yeah, the trailer's supposed to be an ad for the movie.
it doesn't always work that way on
Yeah,
YouTube.
well,
Oh, no.
supposed
No.
to and is are two different things.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if it's a current film that's being promoted, they also want to get some YouTube revenue on their channel. And so, but this can only help promote the movie. So anyway, here we go, folks. The trailer for 1956 Forbidden Planet.
Imagine yourself as one of the crew of this faster-than-light spaceship of the future, sharing their curiosity to know the unknown, their tension, their readiness for inconceivable adventures.
Sir, we're being radar scanned. United Planets Cruiser C-57D, J.J. Adams commanding. Who are you?
Morbius of the Bellerophon.
Oh, Dr. Morbius, my orders are to survey the situation on Altair 4.
Commander, if you set down on this planet, I warn you that I cannot be answerable for the safety of your ship or your crew.
When you reach the Forbidden Planet, you will meet Dr. Morbius, played by Walter Pidgeon. The Doctor is sole owner of this fabulous world. Anne Francis is his alluring daughter, Alta, who has never seen a young man till she meets Commander Adams, played by talented Leslie Nielsen.
Come on in.
Didn't bring my bathing suit.
What's a bathing suit?
Oh, murder.
You will meet a charming character in The Robot, able to produce, on order, 10 tons of lead or a slinky evening gown. Always at your service.
It must be the loveliest, softest thing you've ever made for me. And fit in all the right places, with lots and lots of star sapphires.
Star sapphires take a week to crystallize properly. Would diamond or emeralds do?
You explore all the wonders of a vanished civilization. You travel deep down into the heart of the Forbidden Planet to discover the incredible marvels of this lost genius race. These magnificent scenes in striking Eastman color stagger the imagination.
20 miles. Look down, gentlemen. Are you afraid? 7,800 levels.
Yet the wonders of the planet Altair 4 conceal a strange and evil force, unknown, irresistible. Wow.
Woo!
Trailers were different back then.
Oh,
is.
if that doesn't make you want to watch it, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I myself am also in fabulous Eastman color.
Mm, big fan
Well,
of CinemaScope.
I mean, I can see that why this movie would have taken 2 years, because it's not, like a lot of the stuff that you saw in the 50s, UFO on string, and it just kind of wobbles around, right?
Yeah.
These are very precise tracking shots. They're using the set design, the mats, the way that they integrate the mats and the actual sets. Then what they don't show is the beast and the animation, the hand animation that they had to do for that. There was a lot of work in this movie.
Yeah, a lot. The mats are the matte paintings are just absolutely wonderfully detailed.
Yeah.
and we're going to be seeing plenty of that because I got slides. Now, I may have gone a little bit brown overboard on this.
Oh, no.
But if we have to, we'll move a little faster. But
Get
there we
comfortable,
go.
folks.
But it's a cool movie, and I think we're going to have fun talking about this. So anyway, MGM, and I decided to get some of the opening credits. Just
Spectacular.
Beautiful title.
and kind of like I would you call this Art Deco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so you're past what deco is. Now you're kind of into streamlined modern, along with that 50s atomic age aesthetic, right?
I would call this Atomic Age.
Yeah. And we're what, like a year away from Sputnik? This is 56.
56.
Yeah, so the idea of the rocket and its influence on jet age is really a thing that has started to happen as far as like the military and people noticing that, and that definitely affects the aesthetics of things. Then once we start with the Mercury program and all that stuff, the rocket age really shows up hard.
So anyway, our three big actors here, Walter Pidgeon is Morbius, and Francis is his daughter, Altair, sometimes called Alta for short, and Leslie Nielsen was J.J. Adams. But surely you could just call him J.J.
You could call me Ray, or you could call me
Yeah,
Ray.
as long as I get to have Anne Francis, I'm good.
Well, I kind of set something up there. We'll see if you guys get it later on.
No, I am JJ. Then don't call me Shirley.
There you go. You got it. All right. And okay, these are just sub actors. We'll move on, or else we'll take...
So one of the actors is actually the commander in the Bionic Man.
I'm blanking on his name.
I think it's Richard Anderson, but I may be wrong.
Okay.
I just know him by face.
Okay. Well, we'll point out the face when we get there. And
and Robbie has a hell of a career.
I love that because they just put, Robbie the robot, not who plays him or anything.
Well, they're trying to do that World's Fair thing where they sell you a guy in a suit as a living, breathing mechanical man.
Yep.
And the Robbie costume is iconic, and that costume would reappear for decades and decades later in other movies and TV shows.
Yeah, it's big revival is Lost in Space.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, with modifications.
Yeah.
Mods.
Danger.
Yeah. And there we go. I don't know. I just thought I'd get some of these because there weren't a lot. There weren't too much. Now, you mentioned this before, CinemaScope.
Yes.
For anyone that's kind of new to the older films and stuff, does anybody want to tell the audience what CinemaScope is?
It's gorgeous.
Okay, so
we watched The Alligator People on Friday, and it was in black and white
that.
CinemaScope, which is just wonderful widescreen, just beautiful.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the thing is that most movies, in fact, it was the film standard, according to the Motion Picture Association, was 4:3, which is what your old CRT televisions were, and once TV really started to infiltrate the home and became a competitor to theaters, wisely the movie studios decided, hey, maybe we should come up with something, an experience that can't be replicated so easily
You
in the
had to
home.
offer something better.
Right.
Mhm.
And so we start to get, there's a number of widescreen options,
Yeah.
and the techniques that they used differed in a lot of ways, but usually these were instead of, be 35 millimeter film, and it was essentially turned sideways and then shot long, so that the frames were longer. In that case, you had later,
Wider.
yeah, because the when you're shooting 35 millimeter, where you're shooting it in a normal vertical style, you're limited by the width of the film, and oh, by the way, some of that gets eaten by the tracks for sound on that.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
So
it's
you
like
turn it sideways, and then you're able to use the width of whatever you want for that film. And usually it was 3 frames for the super wide, like Panavision and all of that. Again, the technology differed between which one, because there's multiple competing widescreen formats that are going on.
Yeah. So when you have movie film reels, the frames aren't built into the film medium.
Nope.
The frames are a result of the exposure through the lens. So you can turn it on its side and shoot these big, wide, beautiful images.
Okay.
And they usually
Well,
tried to make it like even divisions of sprockets, just
Yeah,
for alignment
yeah.
purposes. Yeah.
well, that was a very thorough description. That's why you guys are great to have on board.
Hope you're comfortable. Jay and I could talk for a while.
Well, here, photographed in Eastman color.
Fabulous Eastman color, according to the trailer, which
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about, because eventually it became Eastman Kodak, and they were located in Rochester, New York, where there's the Eastman School of Music. And I think in the days of Eastman Kodak, they also did some things to the water up there that wasn't so nice.
what are you talking about? I mean, making film with silver nitrate and all that, that's fine. There's no problems.
So they put their name on a music school, and everything's good.
Yeah.
So
There's
anyway,
an interesting history of Eastman, which I will not go into because we don't have that kind of time. But he's not, in fact, the inventor of film in the way that he is given credit.
Oh,
Yeah, much
Just
like
like-
Edison, just popularizing
yeah, like
things.
Elisha Gray, and going back to episode 1. So
yeah, in
anyway,
fact, I think Eastman made his own cameras at a certain point, and started offering a model that was named after the originator of film, and I happen to have one of those because the name was Goodwin.
oh no, was it a relative?
Dun dun dun.
Meta.
Yep.
An ancestor?
I don't believe he was in my line, but
Okay. Well, let's soldier onward here a bit. Okay. Yeah, you gotta click like that. There we go. And special effects. Now, there was some pretty cool special effects in this. Of course, quite different from today, but I found myself taking a lot of screenshots when we get to the invisible monster scene where they're fending him off. That was probably, excellent for the time. And wow.
and a lot of these mats are clearly the result of. I mean, Disney in this era is essentially what ILM was. As far as like any animation or drawing or you want to do animated mats or things like that. I mean, they were the ones that you went to. Sad to see how they've devolved now.
Oh, they're closing the ink and paint studio at Disney now. It's all just outsourced and whatnot.
Yeah, and they're down to
tragic.
2 model builders at ILM.
It's tragic.
Wow. Yeah, so anyway, we move forward, and here we go, because we are a little bit about music here. Louis Yeah, it is Louis, not Luis, but Louis and Bebe, I believe it's pronounced. Bebe Baron, or is it Baron? In any way, in any case, they were the composers of the soundtrack, and they also designed a lot of the circuitry that they used. It wasn't really a matter of, oh, what instruments are playing that? Well, they were kind of made, and they talked about the process a bit, and something that I read, and they were fighting with some things all along because there were things they were trying to do, and sometimes some of the circuitry were burned out, and sometimes some of that damage actually sounded good to them, and they utilized what they made anyway. Of course, there was some spring reverb used, so there was some kind of like a physical or semi-mechanical processes used as well. And but definitely, when you hear it, we'll be hearing a good amount of it in small clips, except for Adam came through again
We
with
got one track out of 22 tracks on the official soundtrack that wasn't copyrighted, and it happens to be the main theme reprise.
I love the electronic tonalities. It sounds like a
no.
band name that I need to go ahead and file.
Yeah, and people that maybe studied music or know what the word tonality actually means would say, "What do you really mean that?" No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, let's give them some license. They made a pretty cool score, so they want to call them tonalities. I think at that time, it was one of those things where they didn't want to call it music necessarily, or a score, because they probably never made paper in any musical notation.
Yeah, could I see that score? Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You could do it in modern notation stuff of sorts, but yeah. So I think they just decided to call it that because that was something that maybe someone could read on the credits and hear about, and then when hearing it, say, "Oh, okay." Um, trying not to say to people, "Hey, this is music," but I think by that point, John Cage had already said, in a redefinition of music, that music is organized sound, which kind of,
It just wasn't really accepted in the collective mindset as
or at least in
actual
the
music.
the non-art music
Yeah.
folks.
Well, and it could
So,
be due to so the movie studios, and they had, specific titles had very specific definitions when you were giving
mm,
credits, and they may not have actually qualified.
well, yeah, maybe the studio even named it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a union thing as well.
Right. Right.
Hmm, that's true, because they were outsourcing it to circuitry. So
Western
anyway,
Electric Sound System. Yes.
oh yeah. Western Electric. Yeah, that was the
Ma
company
Bell.
that also Elisha Gray was one of the people that was there at the beginning. I remember that name from week one.
Yep. Western Electric is all of the telephones and stuff that you got from AT&T were Western Electric.
And they were built like tanks, and they
Yes, I
lasted
still have
forever.
some that I could use as a home defense weapon.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we're gonna hear some of the music now because I think this is a perfect time to segue to probably the largest sampling of music that you're gonna get, folks. But this is very characteristic of it. So here we go. Thanks
Let's
to
do it.
Adam. Well, we've just been posed with a question from Nameless No Name, who sometimes goes by Nameless One as well. Let me just pop this back up again and let me see. Do either of you gentlemen know the name to this question? The answer to this question?
I believe they are.
I have no idea.
I was thinking their start was early 50s or thereabouts.
Yeah, I know it was around that time.
I guess here, let me Google that for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, they were created in 58, 2 years after this.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, during that time, this the crafting of things was pretty intense, and you know, we will at some point get to that, like the EMS in the UK, one of the legendary electronic music studios of all time. But that will be in weeks to come. So we shall move on now from the electronic tonalities, and I guess I captured a few things. I guess producers are important. Well, and directors are important too. So there you go. Fred McLeod Wilcox. Actually, he did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great collaboration. Everyone was pulling.
So I am going to switch to the next batch of slides. I had to really cut these up into chunks by type because of the limitations on StreamYard of file size. And then it puts them in reverse order here, so that's fun. Here we go, 2. Where are you? There we go. So anyway, the film begins after the credits with
a beautiful shot.
Yeah, with the ship that a bunch of humans are traveling across, I guess the galaxy in faster than light travel. As the trailer said, they are using a hyperdrive. And
it's nice to see when there was a brief period when human beings built flying saucers, so that instead of being invaded by them. So that's pretty cool.
Well, it's the kind of thing I'd like to fly through space in. And then the inside was actually just quite beautiful, especially the navigation area.
Yeah, those plexiglass bubble.
That would have cost a fortune back then.
Well, I mean, they might have been able to buy a lot of mill surplus. You're decommissioning a B-17. Let me try and steal some stuff. But
maybe if
I don't think there's anything that's really appropriate at that time. But there's a lot of former military companies that post World War II and then Korea and all that. They have all of these skills, but there's not the demand for it anymore. So like Vornado fans that everybody knows, at least the metal ones or whatever. Those are companies that were making aircraft cowlings for bombers and fighters, and then they just take those same skills and apply it to other things.
Well, yeah, that's why we got that giant consumer push after the wars. All these factories were sitting there like, what do we do? Build fans, cars, dishwashers, whatever.
And a lot of people with trained skills that you need to be able to do. Because like in the case of cowls or whatever, a lot of that is not stamping. It's metal turning on a high-speed lathe. And what are you going to make after that? Oh, fans. That'll work. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just see here from my audio list, I did capture some clips, short ones, like basically this is how it sounded during the opening credits, which is a theme you do hear throughout the movie. So I will pause that. So that boom, boom, just this kind of like plodding sound, almost like drops, a high pitch and low pitch. It was like a theme throughout the film.
Yeah, that raindrop sound is wonderful.
And there's an emptiness to it that kind of reflects, them flying through space, right? That there's this vast amount and then little plops and sounds here and there, but it's not over here. Let's throw an orchestra at it. No, you're in this vast empty area, and the sound reflects that.
Yeah, as if you were the singular source of sound in a giant vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So atmospheric. It's
And
great.
some of the kind of like the oscillating in the background, I think had an effect on, the sound of the bridge in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Because
absolutely.
But I guess that might also have come from the military a little bit. Maybe that's how it sounded in like naval vessels a little bit. I don't know. But in any case, here we go. Basically, they're approaching Altair 4, and they've been traveling through hyperspace. We'll find out later. It's been about 378 days, and all these men have been caged up. And now they need to slow down as they approach the planet. And these, I guess, are the important members of the crew, of which one survives of the important people.
That's me on the left, the galley cook.
Yeah, it's important to bring the cook along with you.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do some foraging because I'm tired of whatever the hell that paste is we've been eating.
Yeah. Well, I liked the guy. He was pretty cool. So anyway, this is them. This is the effect that was used to show them braking, which is basically coming out of hyperdrive.
Air brakes.
Yep. Something like that.
Without air.
And I guess I'm not sure what the thinking was, but it was pretty cool. If you're coming out of hyperdrive, you need to get encased in blue light.
Yes.
Or green light. And
shock absorber.
My wife was thinking at the time, oh, are they going to beam somewhere? No.
Nope.
Just trying not to jelly our brains.
And there we go. And I actually have some sound for this. Here's how it sounded. Once again, just a small clip. Not too small, because I think this is more sound design rather than part of the score.
Right.
Well, it looks like I got a fair amount of that, didn't I?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a cool intensity, the way it ramps up.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's
we're on
gonna
repeat.
loop. It's gonna.
Yeah,
well,
I think the interesting thing is you kind of have that thrumming rhythm behind all of it that sounds like it's the generator for the ship or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of being strained as things as it has to throw more power to
yeah, you get a great sense of the amount of power that is being used.
Right. Yeah,
it's a good indicator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it basically made the visuals work.
Yes.
And then after they've slowed down, I just decided to get this picture because it's a more open picture of the
look
bridge.
At that.
It's a hell of a set.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm sure you could walk.
When are we going to get this on B-sides, Adam?
I'm checking the copyright right now. We'll just run through the whole thing.
No, I mean building that set as our new broadcast.
I already have a studio.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah. I don't know.
I never see it because I'm in the basement. Oh,
you're broadcasting from Jay.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, if you haven't checked out B-sides yet, that's at B-roll stage. I do have the link in the description. But you get to, on Friday nights, you get to hear from Jay and Adam, among some other fine people. And they look at least one movie a week, as well as some pretty entertaining shorts. Last week, it was the or last Friday, it was the alligators and bedpan people. I
The
still don't
bedpan
understand.
people.
Yeah.
I still didn't
Just
understand the
Scream
bedpan people.
cosplayers.
No one was able. I was just yelling out in the chat. Can someone explain what their purpose is? But
We
No.
don't know.
No one could. So,
well, anyway. Oh yes, and there was some lighting effects going on in here as well. And so they were just showing the bridge while everybody was away in the, I don't know, what do you call it? The light protectors for braking. And then they come out of that and they move back on over to the bridge and start seeing about landing on Altair 4 because now they're approaching it. Some interesting stuff, like as you see different angles there. I mean, that is a pretty cool glass structure there.
Yeah, and this becomes like, I don't know if this is the first example of it, but that becomes a very iconic design for not just American sci-fi, but Japanese sci-fi. That central globe in the round console.
Yeah, really. This thing becomes this movie in many of the tropes that it introduces and the design that it has or whatever. I mean, it really is a lodestone that everybody kind of touches up until, with 2001 and then even later. Yeah, Black Hole is even.
Black Hole used this too.
Right. Yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
so there's these influences that happen, and really Star Wars kind of kicks off a different aesthetic that people start copying. But but up until then, it's this.
Yep. And she'll move on. And a little bit of outside shot. I think I do have an audio clip here because they do show some of the outside footage of the spaceship approaching. And I do have that sound right here. And that sound is something that in one of my pieces, I kind of made something like that, but with digital synthesis. This wouldn't have been digital then, but with digital synthesis, some granulation and modulation of the grains was able to make that kind of sound, where here somehow they probably use envelopes, fast-moving envelopes, to chop up that sound into little particles, if you can think of it that way, and those different particles were being modulated in pitch and everything, and it just sounds really cool.
We mentioned that this was sort of homebrewed gear. Is there any good description of what they had put together that I just
seen some of what they said about what they were trying to do artistically. Perhaps I could have found more as far as where is it now, where's the equipment now, and so forth, but I wasn't able to find it easily, and with the amount of slides I was doing, I didn't get to that.
No, I'm just curious because I'm the dumb guy in the room, so I was
no, not at all. It's probably something I would really like to do if I was earning another degree, which I'm never going to do again. Or here we go, look at this. It was actually pretty cool effects. I mean, today we would say, oh, that's not all that interesting, but you got to think back then they didn't really have computer screens and stuff where you could.
No, this was magic back then. This is one step from sorcery in the 1950s.
Well, and I think even with the limitations of whether they understand that star or planet shouldn't just be hard-edged round disk in space, right? There's this effervescent kind of idea of it that is transparent on the edges, that you would get that atmospheric smear. You can still see the color variance on it, so that it actually has a spherical coloration to it, even if it's monocolor. It's not just solid disk of color. I mean, they're really putting in a lot of effort on this. and it's
Yeah,
paying off.
It has a little life to it. It's not just a paper plate
Right.
hanging in
Right.
front of a painting. Yeah.
All right, and we move forward, and
Look at that.
yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
Dude.
That's awesome. Oh man, and I'm just looking ahead here to see if I have some audio clips, but there we go.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something that we would, you would know, as far as like eclipses and how things behave, and they're reproducing this, and putting a lot of effort into this. Again, I can understand why this was 2 years of work.
Yep, and 1.8 million. I'm just
A lot
looking
of
at
cash back
for
then.
what my next audio is, so I didn't have to stop you guys, but I guess I did. Okay, no, that's good. We can move forward for a little while, and then that was the sun, of course. That's why you see eclipses, and I think that was kind of like just showing that we're going to another star system. So there's a sun there, and it's probably the first thing you're going to encounter because they're so much larger than other bodies there.
And we're also
then-
showing off a bit of the hard science. So these aren't just, I came up with it in my head. These are people that know what certain things are supposed to look like, and they're putting in the effort. So the science geeks that are watching this are like, oh, you have my attention now, sir.
Yeah, and this is the fourth planet from the sun, so it's something that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're the third, but
Yeah, there was definitely an effort to be scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
You can see that already.
And folks, I just checked. It's working. We are live on Rumble right now as well.
Hey, all right.
We can have such a thing.
What a time to be alive.
Yes, we have just made a scientific breakthrough.
What is this alien Roswell technology that you speak of, sir?
Yeah, Lawrence and I were sort of fumbling a little bit over the past few
Well, I
days
was
to get Rumble
fumbling.
going.
He was actually giving sound advice. It really came down to something that was like, visually it didn't look right to me, but I figured it out.
All right. Welcome everyone on Rumble.
Yes. And basically anyone on Rumble, I don't think you'll come through in the chat here in StreamYard, so we can't flash up what you say, but Psyche Opera is watching the Rumble chat in case folks drop by. And
cool.
Any case,
God, somebody had to go through and put those gradations on that.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Well, and well, I would do that for money, but I like the relativism that the model of the ship is in the center, and everything is rotating around it. Like, here's where we're going.
Right.
And you know what? I bet that, like, if you looked at it 360 degrees all the way around, those gradations are going to be like the same distance apart.
Oh yeah, they are. You can see the consistency all the way around it.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're perfectly painted by some factory slob.
They're not just going to half-ass it on one side.
No.
No, and then built on this like gyroscopic gimbal kind of setup here. That's impressive.
And basically, we get to the point where
these uniforms are not so impressive.
Yeah, a little bit of mal there.
They're not bad for the time. Come on, be nice.
Well, especially the chef, man.
Yeah, he just looks like somebody picked him up off of a U-boat or something.
Look, I'm working back here in the kitchen. It's hot. You guys want to do
I'm not
this?
wearing those shoulder pad cape things with your.
Well, as we'll find out, he kept a little cool with some liquor. And there we go. This is a bit of view screen, and I don't know. Just thought I'd include it because it looked a little wowy, but now not as much.
This guy.
But this is the communicator.
$6 million man.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm still blanking out on his name, but it'll come to me.
Well, it's one of those 5.
Yeah.
Richard Anderson is currently in the lead as the top possibility, the front runner. But anyway,
I'm going to look it up. Give me a second.
The sliders and stuff behind look pretty good. and this is what you would eventually also see in the 60s and 70s with Doctor Who and everything, and for a good
Well, and
long while.
I love the readouts. I mean, those are things that would actually exist. So we didn't have LEDs and things like that. So what you would do is have these tubes that would literally switch slides to be different numbers, and you had this backlight that shone on it. That was what we had for readouts in certain eras. Oscilloscope over there on the right.
Yep.
Okay, so that is Richard Anderson, and he played Oscar Goldman in the $6 Million
Right,
Man.
yeah,
That was
Oscar.
the character. Yeah.
There we go. So Richard Anderson won. Right. And now basically they're contacting the planet, and it actually showed this in the trailer, that basically what happened is they speak to the man called Morbius, who they'll find out later is the only survivor of the expedition.
Is it Morbin time yet?
Okay.
I mean, it's Anne Francis time anytime.
Okay, well, let's have
Okay.
that instead.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll be getting to that. Anyone that hasn't seen it yet or seen her yet, there'll be a couple of ones in the chat, I'm sure.
Oh, indeed.
And so now they are communicating. Here he is communicating with Morbius, and basically gets warned that there's. I mean, he doesn't even say what. Morbius doesn't say what it is, but basically, don't come to the planet. If you come to the planet, you're doing it of your own accord, and you're responsible for your own actions. And
I hate having to sign a terms and conditions.
it's just kind of
before I
like
land.
We got a waiver. It's fine.
Yeah.
it's just some evil, something really bad. But he doesn't say what, and they don't ask.
Right.
So,
well, we're men. I mean,
Yeah,
white
right.
men, and we can do this.
What are you
well,
talking about?
I guess the whole point is, all right, well, we've been coming through hyperspace for over a year. It's like, we're not turning around and
No.
leaving.
Well, that's fair.
I do love also note the chair, right? That
Mhm.
that this is again paying attention to the details. Where if you're launching something into space or whatever, you're going to try and have as little mass as you can.
Yeah, lose weight.
So you have all those perforations on the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also more
and
comfortable, better airflow. So
yeah, and this is where they were actually getting the coordinates, because they said, no, we're coming down, give us coordinates. And so they receive the coordinates, and you actually see someone back by the navigation area write it down. And so, there's a lot of attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go.
Look at that magnificence.
So, this would be one of the mats I think you were speaking of.
Mm-hmm. And just fully rendered, gorgeous painting, beautiful. Now,
And understand, this is before we've had picture from moon.
Right.
All of this. Look at this.
Educated guesses.
Yeah, but here's this rocky terrain and then planet over there, or moon, or whatever that is, right?
Yeah, very. It's just delicious to look at. A lot of matte paintings, even in higher budget films, you look at the matte paintings from Blade Runner by themselves; they're very brushstrokey, and this is very tight.
And it's actually, 2 moons. I remember them mentioning it at some point. And we have the spaceship coming down. Let me see. Do I have audio of that? No, actually, I remember. I don't have audio of it. But it was a pretty cool sound. I think I was just worried that it wouldn't fly by copyright, because it was a little too musical. Sometimes the score and the sound design kind of blended. But as you see, we're landing with a little bit of ray cone, and then squat down.
Yeah,
and
I tried to get this clip, but it didn't pass copyright.
And those 2 ramps did lower, and you heard. I didn't record it because it was pretty much what you would expect of the sound of, like,
Yep, bit of a hydraulic
Yeah.
run there. Yeah, but again,
Exactly.
the integration of the you have a physical model with this great map painting, and then you have integration with the the front here, where's actually on a soundstage you're setting up this little set and throwing it on there, and then the animation for the cone, deceleration, whatever. This is everybody is just on their game in this movie.
Yeah, and you've got a pretty advanced use of optical printer work here with all
Yes.
these layers.
Yeah, and we go forward, and I wanted to capture this because it gives you a bit of a perception of scale.
Yeah.
Like when you let your mind go and just get into the film, you're of course thinking, what's the size of the spaceship, what's the size of the people, and of course they do eventually pull out almost like a bulldozer type thing from the ship. So
it looks believably accurate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do have this, just to let you folks know that there wasn't just electronic stuff in the sound design. There was also some sounds like this when they're walking down the ramp.
Proper Foley work.
I know that was really quiet, folks, but it actually was pretty quiet in the film too. It's almost like tapping. I've done things like that before.
Yeah,
tapping on
sounds.
tapping on metal, but
Mhm.
from the perspective, they look almost like little insects coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it worked.
And they should, because they're a negligible presence on this giant planet. So
Yes. And there we go. We have arrived, and pretty soon they notice something off in the distance. What I'm trying to capture there is, well, no, actually, the first thing that said is, "Oh man, this is beautiful. I could get used to this." And somebody said they prefer blue sky, but in any case, they admire.
No accounting for
the
taste
work.
with some people.
Okay.
Spice of life, whatever.
I need to switch out the files there. So let me do that.
By the way, Adam, I want to point out that's what a saucer looks like. Even if it was made of bamboo, it would still be there in casting shadow. And
Bamboo is so lightweight and
that's true. Yeah,
and
yeah,
strong.
yeah. Environmentally friendly.
We've got like 2 layers deep into the inside joint.
Now, if you notice that little cloud come up from the ground, the dust cloud, that was the start of the next set of slides and the start of what's about to come. We're about to meet Robbie.
Auntie Em, it's a twister.
Oh no!
Oh yeah. So what it was really Robbie and his golf cart, and it actually, when you hear it and see it moving and everything like that, you knew that they put attention into that, making it what you would expect. And of course, this is even before Moon Rover,
Yeah,
and you're seeing some of the Art Deco that you mentioned, and the billeting there, and the that sort of radiator look to it.
Yeah, the freight, the train style, 40s,
yeah, the
50s,
silhouette,
streamlined, modern diesel punk kind of.
Yeah, the silhouette is very what we call diesel punk now.
Yeah.
See him a little closer here. This is as it pulled up. I wanted to catch his head there because
a lot going on.
For those that haven't seen the film, the left and right side, those like loops that are kind of like antenna, or I don't know what, but they were kind of moving around, and the gears on the inside were moving.
There's a lot of motion going on.
Yeah, a lot of electromechanical stuff going on in this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like steampunk without the steam. And they're basically trying to figure out, what is this? I mean, they're asking, are you a robot? And he said, pretty much, yeah.
I'm getting obsessed with the cook. Like, he's just out walking around with the rest of the guys on the front line.
It's like, why did you bring me here again? Quiet, Johnson. You're very serious here. We need
Grits are ready.
Yeah.
Well, you know, an army marches on their stomach. And
Or rides
so,
in their golf cart, depending on.
Well,
Yeah.
a ride for Cookie.
Yeah.
No, it's like Jerry and JJ head on over. So, yeah, basically they're heading on over to the house where Morbius is, and basically at this point they don't even know, what's going on, what happened to the crew of. I kept trying to memorize the name of the expedition. It was like Valorifon or something like that.
Oh, Bellerophon?
Yeah, Valorifon. Yeah, the expedition that came to the
I don't
planet.
guarantee that's right. That's just what my neurons threw up. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
that could be the name of a stripper, that I met in the 80s.
Valeriphone. I
Yeah.
don't know. And anyway, they're off to see the wizard, basically the wonderful Wizard of Oz, and they don't know that. But this guy Robbie, the robot, came out to meet them, and of course you had some banter there, kind of just for the audience sake, to know that all right, he is full robot and he doesn't breathe or anything like that. They had some questions for him. But anyway, they're about to head off, and this is all, real motion. Like somehow they made this thing move, even though there's a guy in the suit there in the driver's seat, so to speak, and the other guys are just on it. So it'd be interesting to know how they did that. But probably it's somebody underneath the front end there.
Yeah.
And the grill gives you enough of sight that you can move it. So anyway, and then we see a little bit of landscape as they move out there.
This is what the future looked like.
Yeah.
Imagine my disappointment when I got here and realized this is shit. This is not what the future. I was promised jetpacks, damn it.
We don't have houses like that. The house itself is quite beautiful.
Mhm.
And so here they are arriving at the house right there in the front on the cart. And then there's the entryway where Morbius comes out. And, I mean, he's not exactly happy that they're there, but he's not mean either, really.
Hey, there's a he's courteous,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell that there's a bit of an imposition, but he's too polite and courteous to refuse.
Exactly, and we'll see that later, that he definitely does have some moral convictions that drive him.
Mhm.
And so this is some point where it's almost setting up the whole point, like the divide between his, shall we say, the super ego or the moral part, and then the id or the deep subconscious and the animal part.
Yep.
And of course, early on, you don't see that coming, but it comes.
Yep. This house and some of the interior decisions reminds me of the TWA terminal there in New York City, which is still a very similar era and vintage and design language.
Oh, wow. I screwed up. Remember that dust cloud when Robbie was driving before?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That was it.
nice.
See,
There
that's
we
what
go.
that's what they need to offer for Tesla owners, just to play on the outside, with the I already
That would
get
be
the
nice.
high pitched humming that comes from your motors, but I need the background sounds as well.
Yeah, I'd like that on the inside as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a audio file here called Welcome. I assume that might be something like this at this moment.
Welcome to Altair 4, gentlemen.
Oh, that was Robbie.
Yep.
I screwed it up. Okay, good thing this is just a rehearsal. We'll have to get
But
that
again,
right
yeah.
next time.
When we go live, it'll be much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the clacking of the relays and the electromechanical aspect of it.
That would have been nice when we were actually seeing that. The flappy stuff.
Yeah.
Play it again, Johnny.
That was the clapping at that point, man.
Gentlemen, I am to transport you to the residence.
And by the way, you owe us $4.73.
All right. At least we weren't too far ahead.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, again, when you hear those relays clacking, you actually see it happening in the head.
All right. And
Yeah.
the great thing is, after, they come in, basically they're wondering, what's going on here. They sit down and eat first, which is nice. And then basically Robbie's the one that produced the food, and we find out not only that, Robbie is oh oh man, my brain just died. Star Trek Next Generation, the food replicator.
Yeah, he's a replicator.
He's basically he's a food replicator. And they demonstrate that in a little bit, but basically, they had a good meal, they enjoyed it, and now Morbius points out that, he's a food replicator. You just put, and we need this for later, basically you put whatever food you want in a slot there, and he'll analyze it, and then somehow he'll make it.
Yeah, whips it up for you.
So Star Trek didn't do it first.
No, Star Trek does a lot of stealing from this.
Which is fine. I don't mind.
Again, we all do. Yeah,
it's fine.
And I think he demonstrates. Well, actually, it's back here at this point that this audio clip comes up. I'm starting to get the hang of it now. I'm starting to learn how to do this. There is a sound that Robbie makes back there, and it is something like this. There you go.
Can relate. Yep.
A little bit of a belch there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I was all right. And then next, he demonstrates, Robbie's firepower, so to speak, and his abilities and stuff. And
is this the first usage of the 3 laws of robotics in film?
Yeah.
Well, that's coming up here, because what he does now is like, here's a demonstration. He told him to just fire at something over there, and then he's now asking the captain for his blaster, which he hands over to Robbie, and then he asks Robbie to shoot the captain. And of course, the men are kind of wary about it, but they don't stop it.
They never really liked him anyway.
They didn't say anything.
They're all thinking about the promotions that are coming soon.
Oh, okay. This was before he shoots him. He's shooting something else, I guess. Oh, my memory. All right. But now, he's about to supposedly shoot the captain, but that's what happened. Does not compute, He doesn't even say that. He just kind of...
Yeah, and then you have the little animated short circuits going on that he's unable to...
Very pretty.
And basically, while they're standing there, they actually had good acting. So they looked at it as if something was happening before it was animated.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you still get to look at Robbie.
So anyway, so he demonstrated that principle that they could not, they don't need to fear Robbie, but he is powerful. Alrighty. And then this is where they talk about what happened. So basically, just to summarize the story, I believe it was the Bellerophon or something like that was the expedition to come out, and no one survived, basically. And he describes it as just some great evil from the planet. Basically killed everybody off except for his wife, who died of natural causes a few months later. And
that's the story anyways.
Yeah. And then he also shows this. Basically, if you see the black panels to the right, they close in like a cascading effect. And it's basically steel shutters for protection. He was just demonstrating that they have that. I don't know. I mean, it's basically a demonstration of a lot of cool stuff while talking about the whole situation. And basically, he does this shrug a lot when he's talking about things. And so it's something that, you got to be paying attention to pick up on. It's not so much that he's lying or trying to deceive, because he isn't. It's just he doesn't know. He doesn't know why, this evil force.
I'm not sure if I can trust that goatee and that widow's peak.
Yeah.
No offense, Jay.
And then we basically have questions about, that's the doctor, and the doctor asks him about basically, and he explains that, his wife was one of the crew and they got married when they arrived and so forth. So I don't know if we have to go through the whole conversation, especially since I've ran out of slides in this deck and need to pull up more.
Let's move along then.
Yeah, his demonstration of Robbie, at some point you're thinking, and now it could be yours for only 5 easy payments of, because it's like a, an in-home demonstration.
Yeah, through the nose for four annual payments.
I'm going to throw some ash on this carpet, and we can watch as Robbie cleans it up.
And if you act now,
it
comes from Dan Francis.
Now, what would you expect
I was
to pay?
too quick. I should have set that up. Behold. Ta-da!
Oh,
and, yeah, and I didn't really notice it until I was making the slides later, but that dress
needs to come back into fashion, is what you're saying.
Yeah, let's bring those back.
That was okay. We got one.
Oh yeah, a lot of ones. We're gonna need more ones.
Well, anyway, better shut up about that. Okay, and then there they are, and of course these guys have been in hyperspace for over years, so that they're just like, whoa. And,
I mean, I just got up this morning, and I'm in the same state.
Now, in 1956, now I'm not saying any of you guys were around then, but in the studying studying that you've done since then, was this a common dress then, or will we say this is pretty?
It's pretty advanced, but you'd already seen again, they're projecting a lot of things, and you've seen the hemlines move up and up and up, and the mini skirt is not too far from now, and so it tracks for them.
Well, it's calling into some sort of Greek fantasy outfit. I think it's very appropriate because you want her to be va-va-voom right now and get these guys off guard
and utterly innocent.
Yeah,
she's unaware of her sexuality or attractiveness.
Yes, Mike Gorley approves, and I'm pretty sure Common People does as well. So, because he is Common People, and so let's move on. And so she's basically like never seen human beings other than her father before, and her mother would have died when she was. Well, they didn't say that. They didn't explain that, the timing of it. But in any case, she has certainly not seen these guys before, and so she's just looking at them. But she's just nice and polite because it's just like for her, I guess, more of like an intellectual oddity. But for them,
I love this shot in particular. Homeboy in the middle is giving the side eye to the captain, going, "You don't think? No, you need to get that idea out of here because I'm winning." Other guys just, on the right is just, but no, you know who the two players are, and they're like, yeah, I see you.
Yeah, the doctor stays out of it. Well, Jerry, that was his name. Jerry Farmer. I actually remember both names. So he and Alta, he invites her to go over for a cup of coffee.
Would you like a cup of your dad's coffee? I'm offering in some way.
Another innovation.
Coffee? Meet my friend Robbie, who I've just met. And so,
wait till he finds out how she likes her coffee like she likes her men.
Cold and bitter.
I'm sure there's not a lot of milk in it. So anyway, they just have this chit chat, and he basically is kind of trying to warn her off, the captain, that he's just. But of course, he's saying things to her that she wouldn't even understand. He's just like known throughout the galaxy. He's saying the captain is known throughout the galaxy for
And this is accurate because if you have one very attractive woman and 3 guys, there's going to be a lot of cock blocking. This is just going to happen. This is what we do. We will sabotage each other with great enthusiasm.
Yeah, and you see this over and over again, like 12 to the Moon and Cat Women of the Moon, and
Yep.
it just turns into a
Well, right now,
an antler bashing.
Yes.
right now, there's a battle in the chat between Common People and Mike Gorley over her.
They're fighting
there's-
over Anne Francis.
That happens to men. You know?
Fight.
I think she might be a little old for you now.
Don't judge me.
Okay, so and they just show some scenes where he's just trying to work on her and stuff, and of course comes back over the you can see on the left there a little bit of frustration.
Well, I'm out.
Yeah, Leslie realizes, oh no, he's successfully
like-
pulled off the maneuver. Damn it.
No, the first one doesn't always win.
Mhm.
And anyway, but I forget what they were talking about then.
And Francis, most likely, yeah.
Oh yeah, they wanted to demonstrate some more wonders of their world. She went off to
She plays kazoo.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
outside the porch, basically. So this is outside the house. She uses it basically doesn't make a sound because it's
Dog
it's high
whistle.
pitched. Yeah, kind of like a dog whistle. And then this is cool here.
Oh, look at that set.
Oh,
The colors are just wonderful.
Not only that, but we have some
oh,
domesticated wildlife that come.
That's quite a view.
and some deer.
Yes, you can. Yeah. All right, and then here we go. Here come the deer.
Oh dear.
And they basically come up to her. She's able to pet them, so it's showing that they're basically domesticated, and she almost has this way with the animals.
Well, again, it's that throwback to the mythical idea of the innocence.
Yes. Yeah, she's definitely playing, the role of the innocent, and then all of a sudden, somehow, oh, okay, never mind.
Kitty.
We did get a lion there, but basically she was all safe. She just pet the lion. I thought I had the picture of her petting. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think I showed this where they're getting all nervous. They're reaching for their firearms.
Yeah,
Yep.
could it be in the next frame?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's the
There we
tiger.
go. There we go. And no, everything's okay. And so, real tiger, folks.
Yep.
Not CGI. Trained tiger.
And definitely not drugged.
No, in no way.
But yeah, we have the peaceable kingdom. We have a little slice of paradise here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before the fall.
Yeah.
And then she walks back in to say, do you like my friends? And, basically more explanations. Now, one thing they didn't point out here, you kind of need to be thinking of this, I guess, as an audience member. That's like, why are there creatures from Earth there? They didn't take them there, Although, that would be a question that, gets answered later, but something that if you're paying attention would be on your mind. So anyway, more yappity yap, and I don't remember all of the yap, but basically, I think they do start talking about, this evil thing that he's talking about. What is it and stuff, and he basically doesn't know. But in the whole idea is that right now he needs to make a decision. The captain does, because they come all the way out here. This is the situation, and he needs to contact his authorities to find out what to do at this point.
Yeah, we have some very necessary exposition to get the scenario and the world building established here.
Yeah, the colony basically is wiped out except for one guy, and basically it's decided that. Wait a minute, before we get to that, Morbius offers to have Robbie produce some lead shielding for a communications base they need to build. And basically it's so they get out of there quicker, because otherwise it would have been 10 days. They'll probably be able to finish it in 2. And so that's what they're hashing out there. And then he says, he wants them off the planet as soon as possible because otherwise, he may have to bury them like he buried.
And another gorgeous
Yep.
painting in the color scheme of the previous scene that we saw. It just matches beautifully.
Yeah, all of it works for the same planet. Alrighty, and then I guess they're saying goodbye at this point, and off they go in the mobility scooter. So that's
And
the
the
end
Johnny
of this
cab.
deck of slides.
Yeah.
That's the end of this set of slides. And so
Yeah, it's
I'll
a good
call up the
introduction
next
to
step.
Morbius. Everybody gets the sense of the sus with this guy, but he's certainly been more than courteous and provided explanations for any number of things, however dubious you may be about some of those. It's certainly pretty clear that Anne Francis is the innocent in the wild, and so you don't mistrust her. Her dad, on the other hand,
No matter how good someone's coffee is, if you tell me everyone else died but you, I'm going to be
yeah. They're like, really? No. I don't need any coffee. Thank you very much for that offer.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But we also got a hint there that, the wife died a little bit after the others. And he says of natural causes, but it just shows that there's a different situation. And, okay, so this is the spaceship at night. And it was just...
look at that.
Oh, yeah.
I love those copper coils.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they actually had real kind of props that had weight to them and everything. And here's the bulldozer. This is the next day where they're going to start building the communication space. This is, what the front end looks at like. It does move. It is real. And at the back end, there's a magnet that's used to carry things. So it's almost like a magnetic, what would you call it?
Forklift?
Yeah, I was going to say forklift.
The only problem is magnets don't work on lead.
Okay, yeah, well.
Details.
Well, there's Robbie with some lead.
That's a great shot.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And it's giving you an idea of just how intimidating Robbie could be if he...
Yes. Yeah, it's a good setup.
Yep.
And, it's supposedly 2-inch thick lead, and he's got, like, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 panels there, carrying in one hand. And he explains that this is a special type of lead. So maybe it is magnetic lead, because he said if this was crude lead, it wouldn't have been able to be carried in the vehicle. Not like it would have been a problem for him. It's the vehicle wouldn't have been able to
I got
carry
no
it.
problems. The car I'm driving couldn't carry it, but I could. Okay.
So they're keeping the audience kind of like somewhat in a little bit of fear of Robbie.
Right.
Because you give that demonstration that he can't harm a human being. But
is that entirely true? Because...
But why? Yeah, why do you give a demonstration if...
Yeah, trust me, bro.
All right. And here we go.
Hi. There we are.
She decided to come out, and the first thing that she's asked is, what does your father think about having you out here? But of course, she has no idea.
No,
no. Oh, I'm perfectly safe. It's fine. All is well.
No reason for pants out here on the moon.
No. Well, I feel the same way. Allow me to...
Have you met our cook?
Yeah.
He makes his own gravy.
He's got to look. But actually, the captain's pointing here because he sees the chef staring there, and he did a little bit of a signal to this guy here who's in the bulldozer thing. Forklift, and then he cues the magnet. And
whoa!
Yoinks! And that was done well. I mean, it really.
Oh, it's a funny gag. Yeah.
Well, it looked just so real. I mean, you felt like that.
Yeah, the wire work is really good on it. Yeah.
So anyway, cool scene, and we move on, and basically, and they do some technical description of some of these devices as they're going. That would be part of
That's
the communication space.
beautiful gear. It just all
Yes.
looks so yummy.
Yeah. And
There you
then,
go, Cookie.
There we go.
well, he decides.
Synthesize this.
Yeah, he decides to take Robbie aside and say, he wasn't there for the demonstration.
No,
of-
that's true.
Of the food replicator, so it's not that. He's going to him just to say, hey, do you know anywhere on this planet we could find a drink, or I could find a drink? And he says, purely for cooking purposes.
Of course.
But Robbie surprises him and grabs it out of his hand, and, well, no, he does a demonstration first, and then Robbie grabs it out of his hand and starts sucking on it, and Chef pulls it back from him, and Robbie says, decides what it is, and it says, yeah, I can synthesize it for you, and so
Okay, start cranking it out.
Yeah. But keep that on the down low. Ixnay on the captain A. Yeah. That's
and so he's working on that, and meanwhile, here's the guy
he's
from
working on
before.
that.
it's working on something else.
No,
Yeah.
this is Jerry Farmer, not Captain J.J. Adams. It's Jerry Farmer. Oh, got a quick chat there that I didn't get to read.
Oh, it's-
Gavin Blackburn. Does anybody want to share what Gavin Blackburn had to say here? Because I
Sure.
saw his
Go ahead,
chats
Greg.
going by, and I
Got a bit of Gavin Blackburn. I like the way they have to cannibalize the ship.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
again, this thing is well thought out, right? You have the resources that you have, and you work in certain ways, and
Yeah, stuff doesn't just magically appear.
right.
Resources don't, at least. Yeah.
yeah, and that was said back in the house and everything too. So that's cannibalizing the ship, and now
Great artificial trees here. I've
those trees are
built
great.
dozens of them in the past, and these look really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And he's basically, I mean, she was, I guess, asking why he was a little bit nervous, and he's like saying, well, that this is a common thing that people do.
Especially
For
if they've
some
been in space for a
stimulation.
year. Yeah.
For some stimulation, but it doesn't really have effect on her. That's try number one. And she's like, whatever.
She's not having it.
Well,
Yeah.
no, she didn't have a
Impressed
problem
me.
with it. She's just like,
It's just like,
that was supposed to be stimulating.
yeah.
And he's like, well, you got to try harder. And here he tries harder.
But did you brush your teeth in the past
Yeah,
year?
yeah.
Jeez.
But the,
My man just don't have technique, man. He ain't got no game.
and you could see it from the body position.
Yeah.
Stuff. I mean, look at those raised shoulders and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah. I'm doing the best I can, Captain.
Can I have my tongue back?
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 tries and stuff, and still didn't quite work out.
I mean, if it ain't working, just move on, man. Just move
Yeah.
on. I know.
Captain Mosey's on over, and he's like, he didn't give him a full dressing down, but he let him know that, you should probably head out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
ain't working for you,
chance.
son. You just ain't got that game. Get up.
But now the captain takes a different approach and basically just tells her, like, you really don't understand. You don't understand why he was doing that. You really don't understand, why people are acting the way they do because of the way you dress and everything. And she really doesn't. And so
You're
that's
stacked
basically-
like that, and you don't get it. All right, well, we got a film strip up in the
Yeah,
we're gonna
some
see.
educational films here in the UFO.
yeah, it's wrapped up, she's wrapped up in something pretty gossamer. And so, and then I think I got a good capture of his face when he's trying to explain it. This is when he's saying 378 days.
That is also a face that he makes during those 378 days. I'll be here, guys. I'm almost done.
God, a little lotion, if you don't mind.
And yeah, Mike Gorley sounding like a pirate there. And anyway, so she's like, what? She's just like, why is he mad at me? You know?
Yeah.
and she just thinks he's being rude and mean, but, well, and he's like, complains about the way she's dressed, which probably wasn't a smart move, but I guess he's somewhat caring in that regard.
She has no idea.
Yeah.
He's probably like, concerned about his men and probably has enough respect for her that, you know what?
Yeah, he's trying to be helpful, but he's also operating under a tremendous amount of sexual frustration right now. So there's a real war going on.
Yeah.
And all hormones aside, he does have to act as a captain. So.
Right.
Yeah. And so she walks off, and but she explains this to her father, and of course her father doesn't give her very good advice.
That's because all of his films about that were lost, when everybody else died somehow.
Yeah. And so she's explaining how the captain acted, and, he doesn't really say, okay, well, you shouldn't, I refuse to let you see them anymore or anything like that. He's just like, he just has commentary like, well, they're a bunch of apes or something like that, so his idea is they're regular humans. They're not like him, so intelligent and, and more elite, which we'll learn more about later. But anyway, she then talks to Robbie, and she decides to take the captain's advice because somehow it seemed to work out in a way where the captain was just being himself and, told her what the issue was, even though she didn't understand. And she seems, you could just tell in this scene here that she does have some feelings for him. He was, I don't know, it doesn't say why, just that she does have some feelings for him, which is good. You just assume that, well, maybe she can sense his honesty and his sincerity about it. And so she's asking, what is it? Robbie to make a new dress for her. And I keep forgetting about the audio. We're so into the story, I forget the audio. This was the Kiss music. So whatever. But anyway, it was subtle.
Chemistry isn't working if that's all you're getting on the audio of your kisses. It's
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was just showing people that, the romantic soundtracks were like bizarre and kind of mysterious, but I think it kind of works out for what the movie was going for.
Yeah,
Lawrence, we could use a little more volume on the clips if that's possible. They're very quiet.
I'm just playing them from StreamYard, so I don't really
if not, no problem.
I don't have any volume control.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody in the universe. I guess I should just skip some of those that I've already missed anyway.
Well, at least we're not doing an audio show. So
yes.
Yeah.
No. Well, not anymore.
And Francis got in my head, and now I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know what the. It's been 378 days, for God's sakes.
At least. Let's not assume it hasn't been longer.
No, that's at a minimum.
But anyway, Robbie does his clacking and stuff, and decides what she's going to make. Basically, she wants to be covered, from neck down to ankles and so forth, and but she wants it to be a nice dress and pretty anyway, and so.
Yeah, I think she asks for sapphires, and he's like, sapphires.
Yeah, star sapphires.
Star sapphire. Would diamonds or emeralds be sufficient?
Oh, yeah. I guess if I have to settle, okay.
Yep. And there you go. Lucky Robbie there. So anyway, that is the end of these set of slides. I'm sorry they're so small, but StreamYard made me keep them
it looks just fine.
Well,
I think technically this movie would have been unrated. I think this is pre-ratings.
Pre-MPAA ratings for sure.
Right.
It's rated G now. Yeah.
Right.
What does Mike Gurley have to say there?
Oh, he was saying he's amazed that this was rated G with Anne Francis. It should be at least PG-13.
Yeah, that's a post-release rating.
Right.
I don't know exactly what year the MPAA started stomping all over Hollywood, but it was after the.
Yeah, like at least 10 years after this movie.
Let me look it up.
So anyway, she's back there at home, and it's nighttime. Robbie's going to make a dress, and meanwhile, here's the spaceship. And basically, there's two gentlemen outside keeping watch, and one of them kind of hears something, or feels something, or senses something, I guess is the better way of putting it, almost like breathing. And they kind of hear it, but they don't notice what it is. But right behind them,
Okay, I have an answer here. The MPAA is an extension of what was originally called the MPA, but the rating system did not begin until 68.
Yeah, so I was thinking late 60s.
okay. What does MPA stand for?
Motion Picture Association of America.
Okay. MPAA. Well, and they did allow it to be a little bit scary too, because behind these gentlemen, we get a zoom in on the well, it's not really a ramp, kind of like the stairs, drop down stairs, and I thought I got a picture of it. No, I think it's later. At this point,
what's the word on a ship? A gangplank, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe. But it has steps to it, and in this scene, they don't bend. In a later scene, they do.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, you get the feeling because you hear the breathing in the soundtrack, which sounds a little bit like this. I know that's quiet, folks, but it's kind of like the almost water dropping sounds that's part of the theme and occurs throughout, along with some breathing. So you do hear some breathing in it.
Yeah, and the breathing pans well between the left and the right.
The whole sound design was in stereo. Like even the dialogue, you could hear them exactly where you saw them.
Yeah, so, again, they really are throwing in, everything on this movie and delivering.
Yep. It wasn't just a center dialogue setup. Okay, and so what happens is basically we see inside the ship a gentleman there that's sleeping kind of wakes up for a little bit, but then lays back down because he doesn't see anything.
I can't say enough about the color palette here. It's just wonderfully subtle and rich.
Yeah.
And this object that you see there in the middle of the screen does kind of move on its own, so it gives you the idea that something's in the ship. We saw it come up the stairs. Well, we didn't see it. We felt it come up the stairs, and then it moved something across here. And then here's the next day, and the captain can't believe that none of them, well, Commander is his actual title, he can't believe that none of them noticed what happened because some stuff was, I think, damaged. And, the one guy that was sleeping had a dream about it, and it's kind of funny how they emphasize this. The commander looked really upset that the guy had a dream. It's like, you dreamed something.
I think they're all dreaming about Anne Francis.
Yeah.
But he just emphasized that, like dreaming was just bad. That you can't do that.
We don't do that anymore. We're men of science,
for God's sakes.
And then here, more good prop work, and
they destroyed the still. Oh no!
Oh, the chef's got other stuff coming, so we're good.
I want that hat. I love the emblem on it. It's great.
And anyway, what they decided is, all right, we got to investigate this, so we're going to go back to the house. So that's what they were talking about. And I guess they're going to take their bulldozer vehicle. And so they head on over to the house. And
Monkey.
Yes, this is
Bad
morning.
Dates.
Bad dates, yes.
Morning at the house. Robbie's coming out. Monkey's walking over to the fruit. And Robbie zaps it.
Bad monkey.
Doesn't even have to look at it.
No, it's cool, actually.
Nah, monkey, that's a bad monkey.
That's my fruit.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so Robbie then,
Later, Mike.
Cheers, Mike.
good night, Mike. Sorry we're taking so long. Maybe this should be a two-parter.
Oh no, you get it over with tonight.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Plow through, baby. Plow through.
Okay.
We can do it.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, here we go. Robbie sees them arrive, and he basically tells them that the doctor cannot be interrupted. Wow, I jumped to that quick. Basically, the doctor can't be interrupted, and the captain decides to walk off into the patio, and there is a swimming hole there, and that's where she's swimming around. And
Goodness.
yeah,
And
I
happily announces that she has no swimming suit.
yeah. She.
What a
he
shame.
says, "Where's
Oh,
your bathing
no.
suit?" And she's like, "What is a bathing suit?" Which they
Well,
actually
when
put
in
in the
Rome,
trailer.
let's go ahead.
They had that in the trailer, man.
Yeah.
They were
Oh, they
really
knew their
selling that.
audience.
Titillating, I believe, is the word.
Mm.
And there he is, like, I can't believe this lady. And so
Yeah.
she goes out, she gets out, and starts drying off and putting on clothes. And then she's behind the bush there, and he's like still talking to her, but she has a surprise for him. They kind of, you know,
And
argue a
again
little bit
with
back and forth.
the Grecian flowing sort of theme, the goddess look.
Mm-hmm. And then she comes out, but he's kind of like, you know, I guess taken aback, but he's still just baffled by about, you know, how innocent she is and everything. So they have some banter, but you can see they have chemistry too at this point. So the movie sets that up.
And I think Anne Francis really does an excellent job of just kind of having that innocent look on her face.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no, you know, her eyebrows are always kind of up, you know, the wide-eyed innocent trope.
And so, you know, she decided to have him try it out, see if the kiss works this time.
Let's see if the audio from this kiss is a little better. Oh, it seems to, given her reaction.
Schlurp.
Well, in fact, I think I do have, well, that's Kiss music. Is that the old one? No, in this part, it was something from the soundtrack. So I didn't take it because it was officially called Love at the Swimming Hole.
Yes, I believe that's correct from running through copyrights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, I can't take any of that. So, well.
Do you mind if my cat watches?
Yeah.
Yep. And so she's wondering, you know, why is the cat there? But it's all right because the cat never does anything bad. And
no, he's
wait
vegan.
a minute. Is this where? Yeah, this is where I had to cut it in half. I had to cut this stack in half.
You cut the cat in half. Oh my God. You're a monster.
Here we go.
This cat has
Meat's
only
back on the
4
menu,
asses.
boys.
It is of no use to me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, folks, what I'm probably going to do is move a little faster, but when it comes to loading up things, it does take a little bit here. Let's see. Mystery. Yep. There we go. There's the cat about to
have a light snack.
He's jealous. And so he's going to jump on the captain, and the captain.
Animation.
Yes.
Yeah, very
bad
liquidy,
kitty.
Very liquidy animation.
Yeah.
Wonderful colors, because we've been looking at a very muted color palette this whole time. Aside from the animation set of Robbie's head.
Yep. And so there we go. And she doesn't understand why he did that. And he's like, you really can't, you know, you really don't get it at all. Apparently,
I'm starting to think maybe you're not innocent and maybe you're just thick.
She was homeschooled.
Oh, okay. Well, I think again, this is a representation that kiss, again, calling back to you know, myths and stories, that she has lost her innocence, and so she is no longer protected by nature as she would have been before.
Yeah. Eating the apple, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. And then, all right, we move forward. And, so she doesn't understand, but they're doing better now, and they're relationship, you know, basically comforting her because he had to kill her tiger. And anyway,
that's why he's doing that. Okay.
she comes back to the doctor, or he comes back to the doctor, and the doctor's still waiting for Morbius. Good thing Morbius didn't come out while they were doing that. And then
While he shot at his cat? Yeah, probably a good thing.
Yeah, might get a little angry.
And then the door opens, and
these are actual lamps that you could buy.
Yeah, it's called a Sputnik lamp now, basically. But yeah, that was a thing by this period, and I absolutely love them 100%. They're absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Smilex would have a field day.
Oh my God! Well, they're not lit, so he's only semi-tumescent.
And so this is Morbius's drawing room, I guess you would call it, or his office, his man cave. And as we see, another glass ball there to the left.
Yeah.
And nice desk. And basically, they were able to get in, even though they didn't really try. It just opened because Robbie wasn't there to lock them, I guess, for some reason.
Not a lot of locked doors in this. I mean, it's not like you get a lot of visitors or you're worried about theft or anything.
And so they look at the desk and see what he's working on, and they see these hieroglyphic-like things, but they're not hieroglyphics. They're not Egyptian. And Morbius catches them, and he's a little pissed off, but he forgives them after a little bit.
Yeah, rightly so.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
none of your business.
Yeah. Also, is it just meters Morbius's desk and like the behind thing looks like he gives the state of the universe address to his imperial followers.
Yeah, it does look a little galactic out there.
My fellow Galactians.
Exactly, yes.
I guess
I, your benevolent emperor, am glad to address you.
Yeah,
where's the hot hail button?
Yeah, right here. I got it.
It doesn't exactly look like the landscape, but it's artwork.
Yeah.
So anyway, he came out of this underground lair, which he explains to them. Well, he's going to take them in a moment. Basically, they talk about what happened to them. The ship was entered, and stuff was, manhandled, so to speak. And so he's like, oh, no. And so Morbius is a little worried about what's happening, so he kind of explains a little bit. I guess it's about the Krell. The Krell are the beings that lived on this planet. And he does pay reference to the fact that Krell did visit Earth at one point in its history. That's why there are animals here, because I guess he brought some of them back. Or the Krell did. And so the Krell have been... I think he said they have been. Now this is what's interesting because of the time. He mentions that the Krell have been, what do you call that? Extinct for about 200,000 years. And it's like, well, I guess even by this point, the dates they were giving us at the beginning was like 2300 or 2500. AD, so it's like
you're still pre-Homo sapiens sapiens.
Yeah, so the Krell would have visited before human beings were fully developed. So anyway, and he's explaining more of that, and there's the arm grabbing.
He needs a hug. He just has to hug himself. It's a very lonely planet.
Yeah. And he said there's really nothing left of the Krell on the surface, just underground things and this brilliant archway. He really likes that archway. And I think it's cool too.
Yeah.
And then he takes out this something like an MP3 player and says, here's some of the Krell music from 500,000 years ago. And it sounds like this. There we go. Sounds like that. But as it plays, and this
it's got a good beat. I couldn't really dance to it. I give it about a 47.
Yeah. But the thing is, it blends in with so much that had happened so far that it doesn't necessarily stand out.
Doesn't stand out very well, no.
Yeah. And then what happens as I change slides again.
Bum, 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 bum.
I guess I gotta make these smaller slides, but I didn't want to lower the quality.
Yeah, I mean there's so much great artwork in this that you really need to see it in its magnificence.
Okay, and so here we go. And basically, now they're entering this underground layer, and the music continues. The so-called music continues, but you don't hear it kind of like sound like it's outside of the tunnel. It's still just, in space there. And so that was one gripe that I had, because he's clearly introducing it as music that's playing, and so it should sound like it's outside beyond
Should
the
be
tunnel.
localized in some way,
Yep.
but instead it somehow diegetic. It seems it's
Yeah.
floating along with us.
And so as we come out here, becomes a tour of great things. So I'm going to try to go a little bit faster here. And basically shows that this is basically a locking mechanism for that doorway. And this is basically not a doorway to his office, but a doorway to an inner part of this layer. And so, the captain tests it out by firing at it with his blaster.
As one does.
Yes, as most Earthlings would.
Yeah.
And
that's a nice door. Bang. Nope. No, it's a really good door now that you bring it up. Yeah.
But it's Krell steel, which is very resistant. And so he uses the combo lock here, I guess, to open it
I
up.
like the fact that the locking mechanism actually looks like a lock on a vault door or a safe or something like that. It reads well.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it slides open, and here is basically an underground laboratory.
Another magnificent set.
Laboratory.
Yeah. Labor.
Here's where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm. And basically, it's supposed to be a view screen, and basically that's where all the knowledge of the Krell is stored. And then over here is a device that he says at first was used for learning, as well as to test your learning. And basically,
now it's mostly porn.
Yeah.
And especially later. But when he puts on the the brain clamp there, it starts looking at, he doesn't look, but we basically, he's measuring his intellect, so to speak, at some points. And then at another point, he is able to demonstrate its power. It basically can make something mental manifest, at least within this, the pyramid there. But
I can assure you in no way this is setting anything up that can impact later in the movie.
Just a simple demonstration.
Nope, just a demonstration.
And that ends up being his daughter. And so, and they're like, wow, she can move. She's, three-dimensional and she's moving, because you actually see her standing there. And it's really his thoughts of his daughter that are being made manifest. So it's a way of making thought manifest in reality. So interesting to keep in mind. But then they just kind of decide
that'll
to
never
play
come
around
up
with
again.
Yep. Now they're just going to play around with it and basically test it out to see how intellectual they are. And so it's kind of like a prick waving contest where each one tries it out. And the doctor got it up pretty high, but not as high as he, wanted to. And then the captain was last. I guess I didn't get a slide of that, but the captain went last, and he didn't get it up too much at all.
Which is surprising given the 378 days they've been in space.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like it happens one time or another, Commander.
Well, that's a different head. And And so anyway, they're talking about stuff, and it's really at this point a World's Fair, and he's just talking about all the wonderful things there, like the gauges measure the output of energy, and it's basically 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, logarithmic energy production. And basically you get the idea, or he quite plainly states that it approaches near infinity. And so it's like really powerful machine in there. And of course, then they're going to take a ride to basically what's kind of like the reactor room, although he doesn't say it at first. Really, this point seems to be more of like an let's impress the audience with what we can do.
Well, also he's showing off to them.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
still dick swinging here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they take this ride, and
Look at
here's
that.
some
Look
That's
at
gorgeous.
that.
and it's beautiful artistically too. It's not.
Yes.
I remember with Jay when we were doing the Attack of the Clones stream, and we were looking at like the copy and paste approach to Camino
Yeah.
compared to this, where it's like, it's, I don't know. There's just something really
There's
beautiful about it.
physicality here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's the
that
difference.
object in the middle there with the white ball on it does move up and down, and so they were showing that the set moves.
Yeah, again,
And-
it's not there's not just flat matte paintings or static set or anything like that. They really are, again, they're taking out all the stops. They're just going crazy with it. And then again, the compositing of that walkway within the set. I mean, it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see more of that in a moment. He then indicates that it's like 200 miles that way and 200 miles that way, just to give people the idea of how big it actually is. And so you have vents and
it's not unnecessarily complicated either. There's just enough variety in there to make it believable and interest your eye.
And I think it's cool that they went away from the symmetry, because there's something a little bit more.
Definitely.
And there's just a scale to it,
Mhm.
that again, it's 200 miles. Kind of looks like it. Okay, you sold me. Yep.
Yeah.
At some point, it's
I mean, maybe
constructed-
198. I'll give you a little fudge room,
And they do a good job of obscuring, like, at what point it's a physical set and at what point it's a matte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Yep.
And there we go again. I tried to catch some of the electrical energy coming up. But anyway, seeing it in video form is what's really magical.
Yeah.
You can't capture it in slides. So anyway, as we go forward, you get a sense of scale of the building here, which is actually some pretty good illusionary optics there.
Yeah.
Because as they're talking, they're casually walking, and you're just sucked in. I don't,
Yeah, you have the lights that are going on and off and things moving, and there's action even within these matte paintings.
I don't see it as fake at all, because we're seeing this distant shot, and it's a real conversation going on as they're walking.
Totally believable, and it doesn't break any immersion at all.
Well, anyway, and then he basically takes them towards the end, and this is where I guess supposedly you get some readouts of the nuclear reactors, and there's just an insane amount of them. But it's interesting how throughout the film they do mention, atomic energy is being used in just about everything, not only here with the Krell stuff, but the weapons that the people use are also atomic fission weapons.
Yeah, I mean, this is the atomic age. You've gone from the idea of make a big fireball, in 45 to nuclear reactors running submarines, and the idea of nuclear rockets are starting to be floated up, right?
Oh yeah, at this point they're already predicting nuclear-powered cars and things in your home.
Operation Plowshare, where we'll just use buried nukes to make new reservoirs and all of this, and there's a huge optimism right now.
Yeah, and so optimism, maybe a little bit of pessimism, but anyway, we have that underground, and then we are approaching about 75% of the way through, so we are
setting
reaching
up our
the
fence.
end.
We got the perimeter set. All right.
Yes. And
This will solve it.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Just put some fencing up.
Yep.
Well, it is electric fence. So,
No, we all know this is nuclear fencing, is what this is. It's all good.
Oh, okay, good.
As
So
long as it
anyway.
keeps the goats in.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, they demonstrate that they can turn the fence off because the chef needs to go out, and he says he's going to pick up some radishes, something like that. He actually does. He says radishes.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm on Team Cookie here.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
look
is
at that.
definitely.
There you go.
Oh, look at all the radishes.
that's really what he's going
Lots
for.
of radishes.
Yeah.
Robbie's thinking industrial scale. He
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what
he
it's
ain't
going to be
screwing
used
around.
for. He's like, all right, this should be enough for you, like 60 gallons. And so,
Yeah, it seems reasonable. At least till
And-
next week.
60 gallons of bourbon. And so anyway, he's out there. He hangs out with Robbie for a bit because he's like greatly indebted to him. And in the meantime, I guess here we go. We have this footprints.
Oh, yes.
And I do have the footprints here in sound form. It's not Foley footprints by any stretch of the imagination. Let me see here. But, oh, come on. The monster. Okay, so that's about all I could catch. That is the monster. It's called Footprints in the
Sounds right.
on the ground. Yeah. I took a risk there to get it from the soundtrack because really I kind of heard similar sounds throughout the rest of the film. And so, but you can see the footprints there. And so you see it has weight. And I like the sound there for it because it's kind of like the slow plodding, kind of like you can almost sense a large creature just kind of like slowly going along.
Yeah, and you hear that, the thum as it
Browsing like an elephant.
Yeah, but you hear the power on the on the high end starts to ramp up, right? It's on this rising sound and tone. So it's like, is this thing getting charged up to do something, or what are we dealing with here, right? The tension's beginning to build.
Mm-hmm. And then you see the gangplank, so to speak, and then you see it do that. And
Yeah.
it was really cool how that just happened.
Yes.
How they bent them, and you don't really even see anything there. It's just as if something invisible
It's
really
one of
is
my
walking
favorite
up.
effects.
It is.
Yeah.
Seeing that kind of invisible pressure on things and footprints appearing in the snow and things.
Yeah, and
Because
you start to understand that the scale of it is building up from what when you encountered it before, it was smaller.
Yes.
Now more.
Yes. And so now you actually saw that metal bent in, real time. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so here we go. They kind of like sense something, and then all of a sudden they hear a scream. And I actually did get the scream
Nice.
here. I don't know why I did that, Oh,
I'm here for it.
Death scream.
Strange how that fence just shorted out.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Wilhelm would be proud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. And then anyway, basically what happens is after they lost a crew member, they decided we're going to visit Morbius again because this has got to stop. And so they head on over here. They tell him what's happening. He's like, oh no, it's the Valeraphon thing again.
Well,
I
I
don't
told
know.
you not to come here, so
Oh yeah,
maybe
he did
just
say that too.
cool your britches.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
say
you
that
signed the terms and conditions before you landed. I don't know why you're complaining now.
Mm-hmm. And basically, Commander's not quite happy about it, and he's just hoping something can be done. He's not sure what at this point, although they do hash a plan later. But then, there's Altair and so forth, and, the the doctor and well, actually, no, wait a minute. I am totally wrong about this. This scene is actually still after their tour. They don't know that someone's died yet.
What?
And so actually, yes, this is the argument they're having with him about
Oh, because they're what? I thought they were back on the
the
ship
technology.
when
No, those were other guys.
Okay,
Didn't they
so
read the
yeah.
script?
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
for
the
God's sakes, what did they do?
The doctor and the commander are here still. This is after their tour, and they're arguing with him about, this technology could be used by mankind. And Morbius says no. He's just going to give mankind what he feels mankind could handle, little by little. And
Not
he'll
noticed my galactic imperial throne
Yeah.
here, where I'll be giving my addresses to
Kind
them.
of a Wakanda mindset there.
Yeah.
and we're gonna do it. He's only going to be guided by his conscience, basically. And so, it's
And that
that
works out
idea
well.
that, it's that idea. He's been spending so much time with Krell research. He idolizes them. And so everything is more advanced morally as well as intellectually, I guess. But anyway,
As we're walking through this, the similarities to the black hole are really racking up.
Yeah.
mhm.
We watched that a couple of weeks ago on Total Recall.
But there's no like Southern cowboy robot.
No, you don't have Bob. No.
I guess he's not a cowboy, but more like a
redneck. Robot.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah, these slim pickings of robots. The thing I've always viewed this movie as like The Tempest, but in space.
Yeah.
And here we have a cast of the footprint. And basically the doctor made a cast of it and explains, and this is pretty cool intellectual stuff here, that it has features from different types of animals. It's got like a back part that's from like a sloth. It's got front parts that are like from a bird, but it's so huge. And but it was walking bipedally, even though this is a foot of something that would be a quadruped. I mean, all these different characteristics that don't add up. They're like combined together.
Yeah, it's this hippogriff kind of, craziness.
So you're getting the idea that this is a multifaceted.
And again, they're trying with the science. They're trying to make it pretty, fairly accurate.
Yeah.
And actually here, the chef is dressed up better than usual. And apparently he was out that night and he's getting yelled at because he did get drunk. But the thing is, he has no hangover or anything. So.
And those radishes were delicious.
They were, yeah.
But he basically clears and is able to give Robbie a, an alibi, because he was with Robbie. So they're not worried about Robbie. They're just like, what is this? And now they're about to go over and talk to Morbius again, which always goes well. Let's see here. Oh, no. He comes out to them.
Yeah, he comes out and he's basically like, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, all right.
Had enough of you.
Yeah, you guys, if you want to save your lives, you got to go. We don't want to go through this again.
No.
And, well, I guess they decide no. So they don't leave, and instead they're going to make a stand. And this is where I need to change slides again.
We'll show that invisible monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got some firepower on them, and they're
America.
Uh-huh.
Shooting things we don't understand since 1776.
Yep. Well, to be fair, we were doing it before. We were just part of Britain then.
Well, I don't count engines.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry.
No.
This is
Which
not
ones?
sides.
Both when we were with Britain.
that was Engine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
And yes, and here we have our nice fence, and then we have what is this? Oh, I'm sorry, I loaded up the one I just had.
Oh, that's
I'm
it.
sorry.
Having a bit of deja vu
I
at this
am
moment.
sorry. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Can we go back to the bourbon?
We go back to the swimming pool.
Oh, it's with the bourbon.
Yes, let's bring the bourbon.
But as
And
you
Francis
see,
is in for such a treat.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, as you see, it kind of looks similar because this is what happens next. So here they are. They're back. Oops, I'm showing myself, and I'm hitting wrong buttons.
Oh, that
all
was
over.
realistic too. I can't believe how accurately they showed you.
The
Yeah.
things they can do with animatronics.
Indeed.
And then we have here, basically they're setting up the security, testing the batteries out, which is coming up here. Oh, there's a little bit of chat there. That's where the Jerry Farmer decides, all right, she chose the better man. A little bit of humor before, what's going to happen. And
I
that's
do like
basically-
these guns. Again, they're of their era or whatever, but it's not just magic bullshit that auto targets or whatever. They're having to look through, aiming reticles and having the hands to be able to. I mean, this is very reminiscent of what's going on. And then look at the weight where they essentially would have to like bolt these down into the ground so that they don't tip over from recoil.
And you can hear it too.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get the sound of that, but you could hear as they turn. And so what they're doing is test firing at first. And they're firing in that direction, although pretty much almost immediately after the test fire, they're getting to a fire shot. And so they're basically blasting away with their guns of all kinds at the invisibleness. And I got probably
Ooh,
look at that.
a lot of slides of these, but I was just like, oh, it's eye candy.
Wonderful.
It is
1956. And you see a good color scheme for, back at the ship because it's reflecting the color of the monster.
Yeah.
and
You
everything.
get the red lights and they are not screwing around making this, man. They are doing everything right.
Attention to detail here.
Yes.
And basically, this is not going to do it justice because you could see the movement and almost see kind of, without a true outline, kind of like a shape,
Yeah.
an amorphous shape of the
And
creature
it is raging.
as it's moving. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we got
it-
some Balrog energy here.
Yeah.
exactly. That's a good comparison, and you really feel like it's there,
Yeah.
even though it's just animation.
Ooh, nice shot.
He feels like it's there.
Yeah.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah, that's physical smacking and stuff, but wow.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
And then more of the same here, but really you have to see it in motion, and when you do, you can get a sense of form.
Yeah, and the skill of the animators and all of that. I
Mhm.
mean, they really understand what they're doing.
Yeah, I can only imagine that this would have had to have been first animated as a full creature, and then the patches of effects and stuff layered on top of that, just to give it the weight and the volume and the
Yeah,
motion.
or they have like an overlay where
yeah, like a
this is-
separate
yeah.
layer.
yeah, this is what
Yeah.
it looks like. Okay, now just animate these parts and remove overlay and shoot.
Yep.
And the gunfire, and you see that it is targeted where it needs to be targeted, and then it segues to Morbius in his little Krell
Mondays, am I
area.
right?
Yeah, oh yeah, can
Yeah.
relate.
And so you see him grabbing his head and just like, and so, the audience gets an idea that it has something to do with him. And,
Well, they share the same eyebrows.
but then also not just him. Oh, that's where these slides stop, but we're going to pick up and see somebody else was being affected by this as well. And we present. Man, I wish I could put more slides in each packet.
And I think the sounds of the monster that it makes while it's being shot, and just again the
Yeah.
conveyance of rage. It is
That would have been a
just-
good sound to get. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Next time.
I was enjoying the story too much. I was like, It's
It
like,
is. This is one that's like hard to, if you're gonna go through and just dissect it and focus this and whatever, and you're like, I'm doing a thing. What's happening? Oh, there I went. Oh, where did that 30 minutes go? Okay.
yeah, it's like I'm just trying to behold the story. It's like, yeah, I should have gotten the monster and stuff.
It would take like I think 8 weeks if I was trying to like pull out Foley sounds out of Blade Runner, because they'd be like,
Right.
okay, I got that, and what's going? Oh,
You just
there I
keep
went.
getting
Oh,
distracted.
finish the movie
Wait-
again. Okay, I'm gonna have to go
wait
back.
a second. Here's something called fighting off the beast.
Well, I think we've all had those.
The blasted thing's invisible.
I did get it.
Yeah, see that. My chunky boy is not happy.
It's like a cross between an elephant and a whale sound.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll play the sound. Well, first of all, remember I did get the sound.
Oh,
Well done.
Maybe next time I'll be able to remember I did get the sound and play it when there's something on screen relevant.
it's a you choose your adventure. You assemble. Some assembly required.
So anyway, that was when they were fighting off the beast, as it's named here. Okay, so as we continue here, there is Morbius. Basically, he's comforting his daughter because she ran and she had a bad dream about something bad happening to her commander friend.
No
JJ.
dreams.
And basically, he's
Better not tell the commander you've been dreaming.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, he told her that the commander's going to get what he gets because he's warned him to leave, and that's the only way he could survive this.
Yeah. The commander, he played around on the FA side. Now he's on that FO side of the equation. It's see what happens.
And there we go. So now they're talking about the attack. They suffered a number of losses, and they're like, well, did we fight it off? And no, there's the feeling that they didn't really fight it off. It kind of left because it needed a little regrouping, recharging, and so forth. And so actually what it was, if people noticed, it was really the parallel there where the daughter came in, Altair came in, and that interrupted Morbius's mental connection. Yeah. So anyway, and now they basically said, no, we were getting our asses handed to it, and it basically decided to stop. And the idea is the doctor hatches a plan. Let's go get that brain boost device because we need more brains to deal with this.
Maybe also a good time to bring up the ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody notice the large dents in our ramp? Anyone?
Maybe fold that up for now.
Yeah.
There's our forklift and stuff. They drive it out to the house to talk to Morbius, and Robbie says, nope, you're not allowed to enter. And they reach for their firearms, and Robbie said, no, you're not allowed to do that. And she tells him, all right, Robbie, stand down. We're gonna let them through. And of course, she and the commander are really worried because they just decided we're going to start this relationship, and this is not going to help.
Being dead is not conducive to a long-term relationship.
And so, I forget what it is that he turned for, but basically, Robbie says something. And I forget what. And oh no, that's what it was. The poor doctor. He took that opportunity while they were talking to run over into the Krell
brain
basement.
Booster.
He did the brain boost, and Yeah, and it overwhelmed them, which was alluded to earlier when they were testing it out. That you should.
And again, I like that they put like scars on him from where it burned him, on his forehead and on his temples.
And so there he is. He was able to, before dying, squeeze out the word id. And of course, the commander doesn't know at first what the id is, but they pretty much work it out in a conversation with Morbius that it is an old term for the subconscious. So Morbius checks.
Yes, which it would have been like
It's even old now.
popular then as a term in the zeitgeist. Yeah.
And the animal nature, and so that's what gets explained here. It's the animal nature of the human being, and basically at this point, he's trying to explain to Morbius, "Don't you see what this is?" Or wait a minute, I think he's starting to explain it to him at this point, which means we get our last group of slides.
Yay!
Because
we made it.
He sussed it out. He figured out that that brain thing, making things manifest, and that's what's going on here. I think.
Charles Xavier, this guy is not.
No.
Now here's the problem. I gotta actually upload it because it's the last set.
Yeah. You can only have 10 items on the StreamYard.
Yeah.
So.
10 50 megabyte things. The slides can only be 50 megabytes. I don't know. Maybe it's my plan because Brown seems to have.
Brown told me that he uses a PDF format. What I find is much easier for me and what we do is to take all the stills and make it into a video file to just put it as an MP4. If you have basic video editing software, you might experiment with that.
I could do that, but the problem is when I load videos in, I don't get the play and pause feature.
Oh, that's right. You have a browser issue. That's right.
Well, I don't know. It's whenever I bring it into StreamYard, it doesn't give me the play and pause. But if I play it in Chrome, then I can do it.
Yeah, no, we talked about this. Okay.
But I don't know. It depends on what looks better. But right now, I'm just getting to my slides. And
Common people, I have no sympathy for you whatsoever.
What's the matter with common people? He's still here.
Well, how much time do you have?
Common? Are you talking about in the immediate sense or
Let's
greater
start
sense?
with his old dad. He's just making a goof.
Yeah, he just feels like he's watching B-sides mixed with Mr. Brown, and he wants it to stop.
He's good people. He's keeping us company. Now, okay. I selected it. Good. I'm Boomerang. I swear I'm Generation X. There we go. It looks like it uploaded, although circles are still spinning. Oh, it's processing now. What do you need to process?
Well, Jay, what would you do about Red China?
Well, I would go ahead and get my big mind control device and either make an announcement to the galactic assemblage there.
Well, I'd put it on a purple tablecloth.
Well, that sounds good. It's a bit clashy, but you do you.
Well, I like jewel tones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are going to go into the. Let's see. Well, we see here the forest getting broken down by the invisible beastie. And so the beastie comes to the house, and then they have to close the steel shutters. And they go flap, 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 closed. And so now they're basically sealed in.
We're perfectly safe, I assure you.
But he's like, but wait a minute. You showed us that 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, nearly infinite energy.
Well, didn't this come out of your head, and now we're locked in here with your head?
Yeah. Can we do something about your head, please?
Would you like to go outside?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk to yourself about this?
Well, and then, even Robbie's getting fried.
Oh, that's a nice frame.
And so they decide to go in through the cool archways. And they decide, all right, we're going to lock ourselves behind the Krell steel door. all this stuff brilliantly set up before, so we know what the stakes are.
Indeed.
And then they are in the room, and we see the gauges going and everything, so we know that the Krell are kind of like, the Krell technology is powering this beast.
It is
And-
realized that it is truly Morbin time now.
Yeah,
It's all
and
going up to 11.
they just started wrestling each other for some reason. I don't know what for. It wasn't anything.
We
they're
have mentioned
fighting
it's
for.
been 378 days.
Yeah, don't judge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on.
But in any case, he told them, this is why we have laws and religion is to control the id until those laws are created by the id.
That's
Okay.
right. We were just running amok before.
No, we
And-
just have those until they will release Doom or Quake, and then it's fine. We can get rid of them all after that, after it has released all of those.
Yeah, we have Call of Duty now. You don't need to do this.
Yeah, you don't need it, for God's sakes. We're well past id.
Well, that's really what their argument was about here. And, and then it's decided, basically Morbius tells them, well, you all deserve this. You're a bunch of chimpanzees and stuff, even though chimpanzees are not, well, they're kind of cousins, they're not.
Which is
Yeah.
it's kind of a sad, empty insult because he's
Yeah.
not in control of himself.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he realizes that he said the wrong thing, because now his daughter's like, I am going to go with the captain, because that's the idea. The captain and his people were going to leave. But he wanted to, because they have a protocol where they have to take civilians with them if they're in danger. And,
Yes,
He
her
doesn't
common
really-
sense is tingling.
yeah. And
Yeah.
she's like, wait a minute, I'm going to go with the captain. I'm not going to stay here with you, Dad.
Yeah, I've just started to
And-
realize that you're Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And then we see that his id is trying to come in through the door.
Yeah,
And it gets,
Candygram.
yeah. And then he doesn't like that news. And so, now it's really starting to melt.
Yeah,
And then-
Telegram for Mr. Mongo.
yeah.
And, this is, and it actually looked real. You could actually feel the heat.
Oh yeah,
And so here we go. No. And then I'm not exactly sure what happens, but he really just starts yelling out, oh no, I release you. I release my animal nature. I have no use for you, or something like that. And somehow he just kind of like collapses, and the thing stops.
Sure.
And then he,
I mean, I can say that having tried that several times, that doesn't work with a damn.
Well, if it
Eh.
gets me with my head in Anne Francis's lap,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say
willing
whatever I need to say.
I'm willing to denounce any part of
Yeah,
myself.
exactly.
now
Yes.
that's father-daughter there,
Oh, well, it's a family show.
Yeah.
Family show, folks.
Yeah. They've been on
And
this
then-
planet a long time.
Well, he tells the JJ to go over and turn a dial and flip a stick, which he does. And
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Pull this string.
and wouldn't you know it, Morbius somehow just kind of like dies from releasing himself. I don't know. And then we see the dial.
I mean,
here.
we've all had those moments at one
I've
time. We're
never
another.
released myself quite that well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we kind of wish we could.
Sometimes
Well,
it feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was the great release from real life. And so anyway, the dial here is
You have me
glowing.
intrigued, sir.
The
Something
dial
like
here
that.
is glowing, and basically it's a self-destruct mechanism, which is why it's red.
You got to have one.
Yeah. It's not real technology unless it has self-destruct.
And fortunately, they didn't make us go through the whole cleanup and pack up procedure.
Right.
They just
Yeah.
jumped. They just jumped in here in the
Did you
spaceship.
save the bourbon?
Yeah, yeah. We did the bourbon, right?
It's a year back.
I think the chef was one of the guys that died, although it wasn't very clear.
Well,
That
then he
doesn't mean
won't
the
be
bourbon
needing it.
isn't still there.
Cook schmuck.
Well, he's the only one that knew about it.
Take the
except
rest
for
for us.
Robbie. All right. So anyway, here we are. We're going to look at the ball. And basically, they're talking about getting, because Morbius said you had to get like 100,000 miles away. And so they're making sure they're getting 100,000 miles away within 24 hours. And we see Robbie's there.
Well,
Robbie's the new
hyperspace, that should
navigator.
not be a problem.
No.
Robbie's the new navigator. And
we
there
saved
we go.
Robbie.
Yeah, and Altair 4 gets blown up. Poor dear, because they were
Oh,
left there.
let
Look
me
at
console
that.
you. Boom.
Yeah, it actually does expand well. It looks like any exploding star I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Palpatine could survive that.
Oh yeah, that's no
And
problem.
and they're hugging. They feel bad because, she lost her father. He lost some of his
Watch your
men.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
But, they're going to make up for it.
Leave a little room for the Holy Ghost, all right?
They're going to
Mm-hmm.
make up for it. So you can see a little bit of a smile there. And then the end.
Yes,
Fiend.
Fiend, our favorite, our old friend.
We made it through. Okay, so Earworms has become.
Besides,
You will be assimilated.
yes.
Oh my god! But actually, it was fun, man. This movie deserves a going through.
Oh, it is.
Oh
It is
yeah,
magnificent.
absolutely deserving, and it's fun to do something a little different on the show. So yeah,
And
Oh,
again, I mean, from the effort they put into the visuals, it is the soundscape, the Foley work, everything.
yeah.
It is
Anyone,
of a piece, and it is somebody really, a lot of guys and gals put their time and energy into this and really cared.
everyone showed up, and yeah, if anyone's listening who has not watched the film, watch it, and see this stuff in motion, and get the
that was a
full.
little door melting. That's door melting. Sorry, had to get it in there. That's the last clip. But as usual, I do it like 3 frames later. All right. So anyway, that was beautiful stuff. Yeah, anyone that catches us on the rewind or still there, I think common people fell asleep. Anybody
He's been
catching it?
ill lately.
Oh, well, that's perfectly understandable that this is late for him.
I mean, more than usual.
Right, well, physically ill.
Yeah, physically. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
But anyway, we made it to the end, and we want to thank everyone for joining us. It is a film to see. It was enjoyable watching it this week, the first time, and then the second time doing the slides. It was great fun.
Very, very much a milestone in science fiction cinema.
Yes.
We can't say enough about the production design and the hard work that went into this, and very innovative thinking. Just excellent from Robbie's suit. That costume is nothing short of amazing. The amount of animation that's built into it mechanically, all of the details are just wonderful in this film.
Yep.
And especially the sound.
Well, yeah, and we got little bits of that. We got an awful lot of story.
Next week, we'll play the sound.
I'm sorry, I don't know why. I just was like, I want to tell this story.
Oh, it is so good. And again, it's a story that is hundreds, if not thousands, of years old. But it is dressed up in this new genre of sci-fi. But the idea of the innocent who is at one with nature, and then temptation shows up, and then the idea of the father, and the psychological issues with that he becomes in many ways the destroyer, through jealousy and through arrogance and all of that. I mean, these are stories that are told time and time again. It just happens to be this time we dress it up in a great suit of clothes and really deliver on it.
Yeah, he didn't want to let her be human, or
Yeah,
the lifestyle.
The adult,
wasn't
right?
human.
To grow up,
Yeah.
to remain the small child.
right. Yeah, I'm just looking up some background info on the film. Let's see, the art director took the liberty to build sets that were way bigger than he knew he had the budget for. So when they were half done, the money guys had to pay to get them finished. So
Yes.
he aimed high.
He knew
There's
how to play the game too.
Yeah, there's a full-size mock-up of the ship on the soundstage.
Yeah.
Something like 120 feet. There's a huge hand-painted cyclorama around the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual background. Robbie the Robot's costume was $125,000 at the time. Almost 7% of the film's entire budget.
Well,
Yep. And then his go-kart was specially made, of course. Just amazing. Everyone showed up for this and gave 110%.
Yes.
I admire an art director who has the cojones to just shoot way over budget and say, well, too bad. You're not going to get
Well,
a
you either
movie."
pay for this or we have no film at all.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
ha,
You're
ha,
going to
ha.
have to finish it now.
Yeah.
My
'Cause
bad.
Otherwise, they probably would have just, tried to do what they've been doing with sci-fi up to that point.
Yeah, cheap out.
Yep. And nope, kind of pushed into a position where you have to.
So the
But
budget
it's-
was 1.8 million.
And they earned about 2.8.
Yeah, 1.5 in North America, and then another 1.2 worldwide. So initial box office profit of 200,000, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh,
my
common
goodness,
people.
Common people. What a soldier.
Look at that!
Look at
Hey,
that.
Common. Thank you, buddy.
10 pounds. Real money, folks.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. You know what, Common people? You have become the first super chat on my channel.
Is that the first?
The very first.
Look at that.
I hope he can be the first super chat on my channel someday.
Oh, well, you need to get super chats.
That's my little YouTube.
Let's
gig
get
there.
on that. I'm sure that.
I think.
That's
all
not
right.
jealousy. That's a jab at YouTube. No, Common has given us plenty of donations.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
on
Common
Rumble
people,
and-
you're good people, and
No matter what your dear old
this
dad
will
says
be
about you.
memorialized. The very first super chat on the Wayfarer
Flip
project.
it, get a screen grab. Look at that.
Yep.
Put it up on
And-
the wall.
The very first in earworms. It's a first of all kinds. There we go. I got a screenshot.
Well, we hope you feel better soon, Common. Really appreciate your support on all the shows. It's really wonderful to have you.
Well,
I'm sure it'll be
hopefully-
in the mail. I'm sure it'll be in the mail, common people.
Yeah,
your winnings will be there at any moment.
I will give you my first YouTube Diamond 10 million plaque for.
Yeah, seems
subscribers.
reasonable. Seems reasonable.
I'll put your name down for it.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
Yep.
Well, we could always have a portion called the common people moment.
I want to be with the common people.
Yeah.
Where we
the
think about the
common
common
people
people's
are.
perspective of whatever we're talking about.
Common's Corner.
Speaking of which, I'm not sure what to do next week.
You don't want to know what's happening in that corner.
Like,
Why does
I
he have
have
his
a-
back to us?
Trust me, it's better than him having his front to us.
Where's my other sock?
You don't want it.
Not now.
Not now.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers are here.
Yeah, there you go. Socks on roosters. Yes. Socks on Jay's internet.
Exactly.
Thank you, Common.
Alrighty.
We really
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much,
You have a
Common
great sense of
people.
humor, man. Thank you.
will be memorialized. So anyway, I'm not sure what to do next week. It's a toss-up between. I was thinking the Ham and Nova chord, unless you guys have some other brilliant idea.
I'll let you and Jay sort out.
I think that's a
your-
good follow-up to the Hammond organ episode that we had.
Yeah, and there are actually a couple of films and TV series where the Nova chord was utilized in. It wasn't a big seller, but it was utilized by studios a bit, and one of them is The Outer Limits. I need to look that up again to see what episode or anything, but are you familiar with The Outer Limits at all?
We control the horizontal. We control the vertical.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for that.
There's actually an episode. I'm going to try to get the name again. I heard it once. I got to listen to the podcast where I heard it before, but there's an episode where it was used and a Troutonian was used, and they did they recorded separate tracks together, and so that episode I would like to be able to play in some way.
Let's go for it.
So yeah, it'll be Nova chord, but I think we're going to play a little bit more of material as much as we can get away with, because it certainly does help. All right, folks. I guess it's time to say goodnight. And
A pleasure as always, Lawrence. I
well,
really
the
enjoyed
pleasure's
it.
mine. I'm just here trying to soldier through, keep things together, and keep my
And we're
keep
doing our
my
part to tear it all apart while you're
keep
trying to
my
keep it together.
no,
So,
I'm trying to keep my anxiety, because it's like, oh, I didn't play this right, I didn't do that, and you guys are
StreamYard
here
is a
like
sweaty mess. Yeah.
you guys are here having a good time, and you make it worthwhile. So
Well, this is my night off, so
I thank you guys.
all I know is if your id shows up, I'm out. Bye.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you once again, and we'll see everybody next week. If you're this far into the rewind, please hit that like button.
Thanks, everybody.
Might as well
Indeed.
do that, and subscribe, every other thing, and glorify and worship common people. Okay, take care.
Night.